What if I told you that a mistake by Game Freak can actually benefit VGC players? But first, let's talk about the man responsible. Snacksworth. You creepy looking man. You're so useful, but still creepy. Snacksworth is the goblin looking man that will reward you for doing blueberry quest with snacks. But these snacks will give you access to legendary Pokemon from previous games. This has been done in other games before. In Sword and Shield, it was done with Dynamax Adventures or Dynamax Raids. Getting these Pokemon are important for newer players who may not have 5 of each of these Pokemon sitting in Pokemon Home. You also get a chance to finally catch these Pokemon outside of their original game in your choice of Pokeball, as long as you're willing to take the challenge and have the Pokeballs you need. With Pokemon like Kubfu, Glastrier, and Spectrier finally being able to shiny... Hello? What do you mean they're shiny locked? What the... So no shinies? Well, you can't shiny hunt them, but what they did do is make another mistake, which actually helps VGC players. Usually, legendary Pokemon are given 3 perfect IVs when you catch them, but due to a mistake discovered by data miner Matthew Kahona, we see that these Pokemon have no set IVs whatsoever. You might be asking, Zach, how does that help me? Well, when it comes down to getting certain IVs for Trick Room Pokemon are special attackers that usually want 0 in a certain stat. Trick Roomons want to usually be as slow as possible to make the most out of Trick Room, and special attackers want a 0 in a physical attack to minimize foul play damage and confusion damage, especially if they're weak to dark type moves. Because of this, it's technically a little easier to get a 0 in 1 or more stat like speed and attack. Did you hunt for 0 speed, low attack Blood Moon Ursaluna? Because I did, and it was a pain. Before, with 3 guaranteed IVs, each encounter had a 50% chance of failing since half the Pokemon's IVs were perfect. Then, if your 0 stat that you're aiming for wasn't perfect, you have a 1 in 32 chance of getting a 0 in that stat. Sounds easy, right? Now imagine if you want a 0 attack, 0 speed, like with Blood Moon. Pretty difficult. Now that we know it's a little easier to take advantage of these stats, what legendary Pokemon should you hunt to take advantage of this? Especially with legendaries probably coming soon to VGC. Let's talk about it. And if this helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's start with the Pokemon you don't need to worry about. These are Pokemon that are physical attackers and usually want max speed. These are Pokemon like Kubfu, Entei, Ho-Oh, Solgaleo, Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion Wireless, Zekrom, and Rayquaza in this group of fast physical attackers. Now, Groudon and maybe Solgaleo could be in here, but there are times that people want to run it with Trick Room and use a lower speed. In previous formats, you actually preferred a slower Groudon to set Sun after Kyogre sets up Rain. You still have to figure out how to deal with Clover Cloak Tornadus in Gen 9, but we'll figure that out later. So these 9 or 10 Pokemon you can just go after and catch. No worries. You're going to bottle cap them anyway with no matter what stats you get. Unless you do want that 0 speed Groudon. Next up are those special attackers. And like I said before, with foul play and confusion damage, you want 0 attack because you literally don't use the stat for most of the sets. So if a higher attack stat is going to deal more damage with foul play and confusion damage, you don't want to risk that. These are Pokemon like Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, Raikou, Suicune, Latios and Latias, Reshiram, Kyogre, Lugia, Lunala, and Spectrier. Pokemon like Latios, Latias, Lunala, and Spectrier, especially because they are either Ghost or Psychic type, which take a lot of damage from Dark type attacks. Now, just like Groudon for attackers, Lunala has a similar case. Lunala's Shadow Shield ability lets it take 50% less damage when it's at full HP, making it a really solid Trick Room setter. Think of Mimikyu's Disguise or Dragonite's Multiscale ability. Now, you don't need a 0 speed, but most Trick Room Lunalas in the previous format, but the 0 attack is definitely a must. So if you want to go for a lower speed, if you're going to run Trick Room, that would probably be ideal. Now, let's talk about speed. Zero speed is for Pokemon that best fit the Trick Room mode. For these Pokemon, the slower the better, usually. And honestly, if you're not going for a zero speed Groudon or Lunala, then the only other mon you want is that Ice Horse Glastrier, being a bulky physical attacker that works well in Trick Room. The last is a special case Pokemon. For these last two, it depends on the team, and these two are available as fusion Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. We're talking Kyurem and Necrozma. These are legendary Pokemon that get the most out of pairing with another legendary on this list. With Kyurem, you have Kyurem White with Reshiram and Kyurem Black with Zekrom. If it's for Kyurem White, then you should probably go for zero attack, which is what I recommend because you can always bottle cap a Kyurem from a previous game if you want to use it for Kyurem Black. Now, Necrozma is tough. Becoming Dawn Wings with Lunala and Dustmane with Solgaleo, both of these forms are slower than their original counterparts Solgaleo and Lunala. So you want to run them in Trick Room, but once again, you could use them with Hyper Offense, and you don't really need the zero speed unless you're running a hard Trick Room team. But once again, for Dawn Wings, you want zero attack. So Necrozma could be a challenge getting a zero speed and zero attack, but you can always use Trick Room with 31 IVs based on the speed stat against hyper offensive teams that just rely on being really fast. Even then, Trick Room is still a good option. Good luck though with the Ice Rider Calyrex. Hope you got your zero speed a couple years ago in the Crown Tundra. Anyways, that's going to be all for this video. I felt like it was a helpful video to get out some information because we're probably going to see these one restricted formats or even double restricted formats coming sooner than later. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree with what I think for certain stats, or is there something that I'm missing? Either way, let me know your favorite legendary in the comments down below, and if this helped you out at all, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Zach. We'll see everyone later.